From the book of Hebrews at chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. It reads, "Therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." You may be seated. The grass withers, the flower fades. The word of the Lord shall stand forever. I want to preach for just a few moments from this sermon subject about how to get your testimony to the finish line. How to get your testimony to the finish line. Sir Winston Churchill, who was perhaps England's greatest prime minister, who had led them in their highest hour, led them through World War II and their fight against Hitler and Nazi Germany. He was a great orator, and he was invited back to his alma mater to give the commencement address. The students, along with the gathered body, sat on tiptoe with anticipation to hear what this great statesman would say. He had given moving orations in the past, and they were looking forward to what he would say in this commencement address. He stood to the podium. A hush filled the assembly to hear what Winston Churchill would say. He gave his shortest address, but it's perhaps his most memorable speech, and here's the address. He stood and said, "Never, never, never, ever give up." Turned, went to his seat, sat down, having spellbound the waiting congregation. I believe that that is the word from God to the people of God in Hebrews. And that is never, 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 ever give up. This unknown writer is writing to a group of dispirited Christians who had recently come out of the religious system of Judaism. And they had now trusted faith in Jesus Christ. And their newfound faith in Jesus Christ was leading to much persecution, much loss. Many of them had lost property. They had been disinherited by their families. They lost status and rank in culture and society. And the claims that they were making about Jesus Christ were seemingly falling short. And this writer writes to them to say to them, never give up on faith in Jesus Christ. Because to turn away from Jesus Christ to anything else, no matter how seemingly good it may be, is to make you the biggest loser. The theme that runs throughout the book of Hebrews is that Jesus is simply better. It doesn't matter what you compare him to, Jesus is better than that. When they juxtapose Jesus to the old system of Judaism, the old religious system of Judaism was good, but it wasn't Jesus. As a matter of fact, he runs the line and says that Jesus is better than the prophets. because the prophets spoke to us in times past, but now when God speaks to us, he speaks to us through his son Jesus, who is the final word and final authority on all things. Jesus is better than the angels because Jesus is the only beloved, begotten Son of God, made of the same stuff as Jehovah God. Jesus said, when you've seen me, you've seen the Father, because I and the Father, we are one. He's better than the old Levitical priesthood because they had to make their sacrifice over and over again. But Jesus made his sacrifice for our sins once and for all time. And when he was done, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty on high, never having to make intercession for us again, because Jesus is better. He's better than Moses because he is the end of the law. That when you got Jesus Christ, you don't need Moses, because Moses was a servant in the house of God, but Jesus is the architect of the house of God. He built the house. He's the foundation that the house stands on. He's the superstructure that the house is made of. And when you got Jesus, you got everything that you need. So the writer says, hang in there with Jesus, because there's nobody like Jesus. And like these dispirited Jews this morning who were contemplating leaving Christ and going back to their old way of life, you may be discouraged because the claims that you have made about Jesus sometimes seem categorically incongruent. Sometimes the promises that you have made over your life about your faith in God sometimes don't seem to line up with your reality. If you would be honest this morning, you can say of a truth that there have been some times in your life when you've had long promises and short fulfillments. You this morning can testify, I've been trying to hold on to my confidence in God. I've been trying to maintain my integrity. I've been trying to stand on the promises of God. But sometimes, if we're honest, we all feel like giving up. Sometimes we feel like sounding retreat and recant, recall, rescinding our proposal and resolution, saying, I'm tired of this. I've had enough of this. I mean, life sometimes will beat you up to the point that you almost wonder, what does it matter if I give up or not? Can I tell you this morning, it's too soon to quit. You've got too much invested now to give up on your claims now. So lean in this morning so I can tell you that your testimony is not complete until you get your testimony across the finish line. Because a testimony is not a testimony until you finish. It's easy to get started. It's easy to run for a season, but a life of faith is not a short sprint, but a life of faith is a marathon. And if you're going to run this race of faith, sometimes you're going to have to run with tears in your eyes. Sometimes you're going to have to run with your heart broken and crushed. Sometimes you're going to have to run this race of faith not knowing what tomorrow is going to bring, but you run on anyhow, because you know that he who has begun a good work in you will perfect it until the day of Jesus Christ. So hold on to your testimony. If you've got to run with your testimony in tatters, run on anyhow. If you've got to run with your testimony in shambles, run with it anyhow. If you've got to run with your testimony broken and battered and bloody, run on with your testimony, because it ain't your testimony to begin with. What you have, God gave you. What you know, God taught you. Who you are, God made you. And where you're going, God is going to take you there. If you're going to get your testimony to the finish line, You've got to run recalling the witnesses who surround us. The writer uses that word in the first line of verse 1 saying, therefore. That word therefore is really like a hyperlink. That when you click on the word therefore, in Hebrews 12:1, it opens the faith files of Hebrews chapter 11. And there the writer says, we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. We are surrounded by past participants who are now in the grandstands as our present encouragement, who are saying to us, you can make it. They're saying to us that God will see you through. He recounts the faith of Abel, who the Bible says worshiped by faith. Even when his worship got him attacked, he worshiped to the point that he pleased God. And then there is the faith of Enoch, faith of a man who walked with God in the midst of an evil age. And then there's the faith of Noah, who worked by faith. For 120 years, Noah worked and preached, knowing it was going to rain. And he built an ark to the saving of his family, because Noah didn't want to just preach faith and not live faith. He preached that it was going to rain, but he worked like he knew it was going to rain, because Noah didn't want to be saved and his family be lost. And then there is the faith of Abraham. Abraham, who had a willing faith. The record is he staggered not at the promise of God through unbelief, but he counted God faithful. And because he counted by faith, he got up when God called him to leave Ur of the Chaldees at 75 years old and went out on a journey, not knowing where he was going. Sarah waited by faith at 90 years old, still holding on to an old promise, even past menopause, past the biological clock of a woman to produce a child. But by faith, God gave her strength to push forth Isaac. Then there is Noah, or there is then Moses, and then there is Gideon and Barak and Samuel and Samson and Jephthah, and those who through faith subdued kingdoms and wrought righteousness and obtained promises, and they were valiant in fight. They were able to turn back the enemies that assailed them. They were able to receive God's promises over their lives because they apprehended a good testimony. What was their testimony, preacher? It was simply that they pleased God. And this morning, God's word for you is that if you're going to please God, you've got to do it by faith. You've got to please God not by how you talk, not by how you shout, not by how you dance in the aisles and speak in tongues, but how you live when life is lifing on you. But how you maintain your confidence in God when everything that can go wrong does go wrong. You don't fall apart when life falls to pieces, because you have this assurance: God will see me through. And then this morning we have some contextual heroes. We have a contextual cloud of witnesses, because we are living in a dark age. We're living in a dark time where there are those who are capitulating to the whims of a tyrant in the White House. We're living in some dark days where it seems that a whole segment of Christianity is bowing to the altar of white supremacy. But we've got some contextual heroes like Martin King and Sojourner Truth and Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey, who sit in the stands this morning, who encourage us to keep on running. And then you've got your own cloud this morning. Somebody here, you thank God for your old grandmother. who prayed you through college, and you made it through a whole semester with one pair of jeans on ramen noodles and Vienna sausage because somebody was at the house praying that your month would stretch. And then somebody this morning who grew up in church like I did, you thank God for those old deacons and those old church mothers who taught you in Sunday school. They didn't know how to conjugate verbs. They split words when they spoke, but they had enough wisdom and grace to tell you the Lord would make a way somehow. And this morning they are in the grandstands and they are telling us, keep on running. Walk together, children. Don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. They're telling us, I know it's dark right now and it's hard right now and it's difficult right now, but there's a bright side somewhere. Don't you stop until you find it. There's a bright side somewhere. They're in the grandstands telling us you can make it because we've come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in his holy word. He's never failed us yet. I can't turn around because I'm running by faith. Nobody told us the road would be easy, but I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me by myself. Is that your testimony here this morning? Who can testify? You ain't the first one to have a heartbreak. You ain't the first one to be disappointed by life. You ain't the first one who's been knocked down and kicked down and wrestled down and lied down and beat down. But surely the children of God have hope, knowing that you are always more than a conqueror. We are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. But if you're going to get your faith to the finish line, you got to also remove the weight that slow you down. He says, run your race, but you got to drop the load so you can run your race at your best capacity. In the ancient Olympic Games, the runners would often try to run while wearing long flowing gowns. And those long gowns would trip them up. And some would trip and fall out of the race until they learn that if you're going to run your race at maximum speed, you've got to remove the encumbrances that trip you up. And somebody here this morning, you need this word because you've got too many weights in your life that's slowing you down from running for the Lord at your greatest capacity. There are some people who may be weights in your life. And there are some people you've got to lay aside. There are some relationships that you have outgrown. And there's nothing wrong with outgrowing people, because if you're still in the same place emotionally and spiritually, you still got the same mindset and outlook that you had 15 years ago, it's time to move on. It's time to pronounce the benediction on some friendships and some relationships. It's time for you to say to some people, may the Lord watch between me and thee while we are absent one from another. Because if you are a weight in my life, you are stopping me from maintaining my greatest relationship. And that is my relationship with Jesus Christ. For somebody this morning, your past may be a weight. When you're trying to relitigate past failures and mistakes that you've made. And there's nothing wrong with remembering the past. You just can't live in the past. Because trying to relive the past leads to depression. But you also can't get too anxious about the future. That's why the writer of Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 says we need what is called now faith. We need right now faith. We need faith to live from day to day. Yesterday is gone, and tomorrow may never be mine. But Lord, for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. You can't live in yesterday, and you can't live in tomorrow. You can only live right now. So if you're going to live right now, you need right now faith to give you the resolve to take one step at a time. I know the load is heavy, but keep on walking. You've got to lay aside those weights, because those weights are stopping you from spiritual growth and development. I'm done now, but it's not just about recalling the witnesses and removing the weights. But if you're going to get your testimony to the finish line, you also have to remember the winner who saved us. He says, here is what you've got to do, beloved. You've got to fix your eyes on Jesus, who is the author and perfecter of our faith. In essence, he said you've got to fixate on someone who's able to help you keep going. It's all right to take a peek at Abraham, but fix your eyes on Jesus. It's all right to take a look at Abel and Enoch, but fixate on Jesus, because you can have many heroes, but you can only have one Christ. And one of the things I love about this cloud of witnesses is that they don't scrub the biography of those who are mentioned in the Hall of Fame. I'm glad about that, church. Every name mentioned in Hebrews 11 is an imperfect human being. I'm glad to know that David made it into the Heroes Hall of Fame. And you and I both know David was a trip. David had another man's wife for his own, had a baby, and then had that man killed in battle. But David got a testimony. Rahab, a Canaanite prostitute, the town harlot, made it into the Heroes Hall of Fame. Samson, who was consecrated as a Nazarite unto God, and before it was all over, ended up blind and bound because he was hanging out with strange women, drinking wine and eating honey from the carcass of a dead lion. But this morning, you ought not sit there and look at me with your sanctimonious stare. You ought to go on and tell the truth. I'm glad they made it in, because if they made it in, I got a chance to get in too. Oh, you ain't fooling me up in here, because you got your church decorum working for you. I know you think that you thought that your halo was showing and that your lily white wings were coming from under your clothes, but all of us can testify I'm a mess sometimes. I get it wrong sometimes. I fall short sometimes, but great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. You got to fixate on Jesus. But at least you get this message confused this morning. This is not an invitation for you to run harder. This is not an exhortation for you to run stronger in your own strength. But this is really an encouragement for you to rest in the fact that you can't win this race no matter how hard you try if you're running in your own strength. Now, you got to run in the fact that the race that you are running has already been won. You don't know when to shout, because what the writer is really saying is that this is not about you trying to run stronger or you trying to run faster. This is a word for you of substitution. That somebody tapped you on the shoulder and took your place in the race and ran the race that you could not run and gave you a victory that you could not gain. You got a victory this morning for a race you didn't even run in. So when you run, you're not running to be a winner. You're running because you're already a winner. You're not running to be victorious, but you're running from a place of victory because the victory is already ours. Thanks be to God who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm out of here this morning. But in 2019, I was diagnosed with keratoconus. And keratoconus is really a disease of the eye, where the cornea bulges and thins. And I had to have a cornea transplant because I was declared legally blind in my right eye. The law said that legally I was blind in my right eye. And so I came here to Houston to Baylor St. Luke in November of 2020. And I went to sleep with a pre-transplant story, but I woke up with a post-op testimony. And that is, I went to sleep legally blind, but I woke up with brand new sight. Because somebody, I don't even know them. I wish I knew who they were so I could write a note to their family to say thanks, but I don't know who it was. But this morning I can see, because somebody in their death gave me the gift of life. Come see, child of God. One Friday on a hill called Calvary, I didn't have a cornea transplant. I had a heart transplant. On Calvary, Jesus took my place. Is there anybody here who can testify? I know who he is. Jesus, the author and finisher of my faith. So fix your eyes on Jesus. I wonder, do you know him? I'm going to sit down, but can I call his name before I sit down? Jesus was conceived in virginity. Jesus was clothed in humanity. Jesus raised in obscurity. Jesus taught passionately. Jesus prayed substitutionally. Jesus died vicariously. Jesus healed indiscriminately. Jesus was buried volitionally, but Jesus rose victoriously. Jesus ascended highly, and one day he will return gloriously. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. He walks with me. He talks with me. He tells me that I am his own. I dare you this morning to take your eyes off the White House. Take your eyes off of Donald Trump. Take your eyes off of the Republican Party. Take your eyes off of Charlie Kirk and fix your eyes on Jesus. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glorious grace. Have you tried him? Won't he make a way? Won't he pick you up? Won't he give you joy?